hopefully find solutions to the killer herdsmen issues in Nigeria. I will have with me this evening, join me from Nigeria and around the world. I have in the person of Akin Fapohunda, who is the Secretary Steering Committee, Eminent Elders Forum. Find solutions to the killer herdsmen. Okay, so on that, I say, Akin, you're welcome. We will have as well Dr. Jonathan Asake, who is the President, Southern Kaduna People's Union, SOKAPU. Also have in our midst, Comrade Deli Ajufo, who is the coordinator, Anioma Redemption Group. Eventually, we will have Lieutenant Colonel Tony Nyiam. Many of you will know him, a very fine gentleman who was among the Gideon Oka group that at one point tried to rescue the nation. Also, we will have Yinka Odumakin, who is the spokesperson, Afenifere, a socio-cultural organization of the Yoruba people of Nigeria. I would also have Dr. Sam Amadi, who is an associate professor and a former chairman, Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission, NERC. I have my good brother, Dr. Don Pedro Obaseki, the CEO, ACC Broadcasting Media Limited, former managing director at DAAR Communication PLC, and the current President General of the Midwest Movement. The Amazon in the house, my big sister, Ankyo Briggs, whom all of us know as a human rights and environmental rights activist. We have also here in our midst, Chief Dele Mamodu, journalist, publisher, businessman, and motivational speaker, who is also the CEO and publisher of Aviation International. The last and not the least is Mr. Tabara Samuel, who is also a human rights activist. Now, having invited every single one of the participants this evening, I would want us to start. We have seen in many months, days that's gone by, many of us on the social media, especially on the WhatsApp forum, we have seen videos that sometimes you wonder, where are these videos taken? Are these things real? Sadly, as sad as that may sound, they appear to be real. We have seen that the nation called Nigeria has been invaded by a set of killer herdsmen who now in some parts of the southern Nigeria no longer allow the women folks to go to the farm. Even the male ones are most times attacked. That if this is not checked, it spells doom for everyone. To set the stage, to set the stage this evening, I will play us a clip from the governor of Benue State, in the person of Governor Samuel Otom, who recently, I believe within the week, made the following statement. Let's hear him out.
Belongs to all of us. And the federal government, the presidency must act fast because time is going from north west, northeast, north central, southwest, southeast, south. There is general insecurity. And this is being propelled by herdsmen. I want to repeat again, I have made it a petition to the presidency and to all security agencies before, that if they want peace, Mayor Diala must be arrested. These are people who have owned up. They have taken responsibility that they have killed, they maim, they rape, and do all sorts of atrocities. And yet their leadership is in Abuja, and nobody is confronting them. And until these people are arrested. When I talk, I was being castigated. I was being vilified. Nothing bad that was not said against me. I am this and that. But the reality is here. It is not just happening to Benue State today. It is happening to the entire country. Why is the federal government being silent about this Fulani men? When will the federal government come out and criticize and arrest herdsmen carrying AK-47? When are they going to do that? Are we second citizens in this country? What gives Fulani man superior to any other person, to a tip man? I am not their slave. A Benue man is not a slave to any Fulani man in this country. And so federal government must do this. At a point in time, the federal government came out with a policy through the police that even those with license, den guns, double barrel and pump action should surrender to police. How many times have the presidency come out to condemn that Fulani men are carrying AK-47 all over the place? This is not correct. We stand for justice, equity, and fairness. Whatever is happening to a Fulani man should also happen to any other person. That was why I called for the federal government to license me and many others to have guns, to have AK-47 too. Because if I have my AK-47, a Fulani man is coming there, he knows that I have, and he has. Then we can fight each other. But you can't disarm me and arm a Fulani man. This is the point. So this is not right. The federal government is biased, is unfair. The failure in security is caused by federal government. And maybe what I perceived is that the president is not aware of this. Because if he were aware, he will stop it. I know General Muhammadu Buhari retired as someone who is disciplined. But the people around him, psychophants and mediocres, are not willing to let him know the pains that Nigerians are going through. Mr. President, in case you're listening to me, I want you to know that your people, Nigerians, you promised Nigerians that you'll be fair to all. You said that you will be for everybody and for nobody. And now it will appear that you are just for Fulani people because nothing is coming from you to give the people confidence that you are their president. You are the president of Federal Republic of Nigeria. You are not the president of Fulani. You are the president of everybody. And I owe you a duty as a stakeholder in this nation to let you know that what is going on is wrong. And this has the potentials of dividing this country, which will not be in the interest of anyone. Some of us believe in the unity of this country. We believe in leadership, that every leader comes by God. But we have the responsibility to advise you when things are going wrong. It is not everything that I know as governor, but I depend on lieutenants. So you must depend on us. The whole country, those who are silent, are doing that as psychophants and mediocres. They're not willing to tell you the truth. The Bible says you shall know the truth and the truth will set you free. Mr. President, if anybody is deceiving you that all is well, it is not well with us here in Benue State, and what I can hear from other states, it is not well with Nigeria today. You must act fast before it is late.
So indeed, as you have heard the governor there say, it is not well with Nigeria and it is not well with Nigerians. Now, to set the ball rolling this evening, as we have said, there is one quote said by my good friend and brother, Dele Momodu, where he said, "It is sad that we have become a nation that discusses cow rather than discuss serious issues." That's how, and that's where we have found ourselves in as it is today. Now, to set the ball rolling, I will be bringing in my brother from the Midwest, as he always wants me to say. I would have the privilege to bring in Dr. Don Pedro Obaseki. I would ask that Dr. Don Pedro Obaseki, I think you came in with the, if you can on your camera on, if you can turn your camera on, and please unmute and take the floor.
I want to thank, first of all, I want to thank Mazi Ezioke for this very important conference, to convoke this conference. For me, everything points to the fact that we all have a problem. Who we tell Mr. President? Nigeria is like a race on his knees. And I truly believe that as things so stand, particularly as it pertains to my people, the Midwestern people of Nigeria, the Edo and Delta peoples of Nigeria, the only legitimately created region of this country, whether we like it or not, it may not be nice to say, that every indication that the nation is a nation is a lie. Like Awolowo once told us, Nigeria is a mere geographic expression. As Amadi Bello once told us, God did not create Nigeria, the British did. And as it is, who will tell the president that the house that was built on a pack of cards is crumbled? I don't want to be nice. I like being Nigerian. It gives you a very great feeling. But all the indices point to a very crazy dynamo, that Nigeria is dead. It's just a conflagration, a contraption, badly skewed and badly cobbled together, a mixture and not a compound, a country and not a nation. And it is beholding on all of us gathered here to begin to think about the strategic imperatives that will be required to save our people. When an Igbo man says Ndebai, he's not thinking about the man in Karanamuda. He's thinking about the man in Isikwato, in Nimo, in Imbitoli Pedro. So when a Benin man says Ibiewe, he's thinking about people from Edo and Delta. And that is the truth. Nothing in the last few years, particularly, seems to aid the continued existence of Nigeria. And not to say that is to be a little economical with the truth. Nigeria is an anomaly. Nigeria is the whim and caprice of a man who sat behind the sanctuary of his locked door and legislated away the freedoms of our people. Nigeria has to be looked into properly, and all the federating units must be made to sit down and decide their continued marriage, this forced marriage. Either we divorce or we agree. But for us to continue to operate the 1999 Constitution, which was premised ab initio in the first page on a lie, we the people is a lie. I just remember the declaration in the United Nations of December the 7th. And then the one that was put together, I think it was led by the Lower Niger Congress of December the 16th. we have to let the world know that our collective peoples are a people under serious decimation. Particularly now, the news coming out is about Edo State. We are the access to the sea, and we are a motley of 12 ethnic minorities, nations that were in 1914 willed away and wished away. And we don't want that to continue. The herdsmen problem now had moved from Mr. Governor of Benue State, Mr. Tom, all those that have been driven away from Benue, they just cross down, cross into Lokoja and head towards our places. So the roads between Edo and Delta State have become valleys of death. And we are not mincing words about it. We shall defend our people. We are first a people within our people before we are Nigerians. I'm an Edo man, I'm a Bendelite, and then I'm a Nigerian. It's like saying I am Scottish, then I am British. I cannot be Nigerian in vacuum. I am not a Nigerian I'm a Nigerian by accident, but I'm not an Edo man by accident. So we believe, when I saw the paper, the title of the conference, I said, this is good, but it is beyond the herdsmen. The herdsmen are actually repercussive of an endearing system that is built on crazy fault lines. And unless those fault lines are addressed, what we will just be doing is playing Russian roulette with a problem that will continue, albeit unabated. And that, I think, will be the nadir for this country. I don't know how long I will speak, but I can speak forever. It is important that all of us begin to confederate outside the Nigerian Federation as it is so presently constituted, and make sure that there is a dismantling of that faulty federation and decide on the proper paradigm as is found everywhere in a normal federation on planet Earth. And then we can sit on the table just like our forefathers sat in 1958, in 1959, prior to the 1960 Constitution and the 1963 Constitution, and decide on what paradigms, on how will we federate. There should be a stop to the molestation of the Igbo. There must be a stop to the decimation of the backyards of the Yorubas. And there must be a stop, whether they like it or not, to the serial raping and murder of our people in Edo and Delta. And that is the truth. The Middle Belt will now serve as a buffer so that they will know that is less than, I keep hearing 10% Fulani, 10%. They are not 10%. Please go back to the 2006 census. They are less than 6.35%. If you are able to separate the Fulani from the Hausas. Now they no longer mention Hausa Fulani. They say Fulani because the Hausas, ab initio, are their selves. They are their slaves. The Edo man, the Urobo man, the Isoko man, the Izo man, the Esako man, we are not slaves to anybody. We are bona fide indigenous persons who inhabit our space. The Ijo man is not a slave to anybody. They are the traditional owners of their space. And taking into consideration one of the last acts that was done by Kofi Annan before he left, may he so rest in peace. And I think I can see Tony Nandi here, somewhere here. And that is what we must look at. Nigerians must educate ourselves so that we know where the loopholes are in this constitution, take it down, and then put in place a proper engaging paradigm that will help us move forward this nation, if indeed we want a nation. Outside of that, we are just marking time. You know, as the Yoruba say, it is when the wind blows that will see the anus of the fowl. Right now, the Nigerian fowl is a featherless bomb, and that is the truth. And to continue to want to engage, find ways, placate, and it will not work. The Yoruba persons know they are historical victims right from the days of Afonja and the invasion of Alimi in Ilori of this. And we will not, as a people, we are sending this one to everybody. We are small, but Biniman say, don't underrate the potency of the alligator pepper. And that is the truth. The people of Edo and Delta, the larger persons of the Niger Delta, all of us, we are ready, as it is now, to save first our people before we begin to talk about other, let me use this very funny word, cross-border handshakes with any of those other persons who inhabit the Nigerian country. It is not a nation. A nation never dies. Nigeria never attained nationhood. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Don Pedro Obaseki. You know, summarizing what you've just said, it's very simple that in your view, in order for us to make progress, we must dismantle the faulty federation, you know, vis-a-vis taking the structure down.
Yes.
You know, again, the reason why we converged here is because everyone is running helter-skelter. You know, it's like we are in a rat hole where the fire's just coming, all the rats are trying to escape. And in escaping, we must make sense out of the senselessness that we see happening in Nigeria today. Hence, the convergence of intellectuals to look into this issue of killer herdsmen. What do we think, apart from the things we have been reading? What are the things that, you know, that led to this crisis and the solution? You have profiled your solution. I understand that my good brother, Chief Dele Mamodu, is the next person to speak. And I think he has another engagement. So please spare me and avail me the opportunity to bring Chief Dele Mamodu on. Chief, can you kindly unmute yourself and can you make your submission? Thank you very much.
Thank you very, very much, Mazi. Okay, thank you so much. Good evening, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for this opportunity. Actually, this is my fourth conference today. I still have one more. And after that, I still have to write my weekly column for this day, which is about 2,000 words. So please bear with me. Let me say that it's unfortunate that once upon a time, I used to boast that some things can never happen in Nigeria. And again, we went through the military era, especially the draconian regime of General Sani Abacha, under which I was in exile in England. And I said, okay, at least the day Abacha died, we said, this is the final end to dictatorship in Nigeria. But where are we today? What we're seeing is very, very similar to what we witnessed under the military. And I know I listened to the governor of Benue when he said, who will, maybe they have not told the president or the president is not aware. No, we're just making excuses. It is obvious that those who are running our affairs by proxy and on behalf of President Muhammadu Buhari, they understand his body language. And that is why they can do what they are doing. It's impossible. I worked as one of the media campaigners for him between 2014 and 2015. And I can tell you something for free. He reads newspapers. He reads, even when he was in London, on one occasion when I went to his apartment in Mayfair, his table was littered with newspapers. They used to send newspapers to him. even from Nigeria. So to say that he's not aware, I don't believe that. I just believe that what is happening are two things. One, the people at the center of this raging controversy are his kinsmen. So it means he has to protect their interest. And don't forget that before he became president, he had always been their godfather. He had always protected their interests. And on one occasion, he even came in a rage to Ibadan to complain that his men were being maltreated at that time. So definitely these people are enjoying protection, and that is why they can brazenly display weapons that are not licensed by the state. They are carrying these weapons openly. I don't know of any Yoruba man or any Igbo man or anybody from the Middle Belt who will carry an AK-47 openly and will not be arrested. It's not possible. Sunday Igbo has not carried any such weapon. The IG immediately said they were going to arrest him. So this, for me, is very unfortunate. The second is religion. The second is religion. There's no question about it. That the Muslims, especially the northern Muslims, are over-pampered, while their fellow Christians, the northern Christians, don't enjoy the same privilege. It's clear. There is no doubt about that. So let's not give excuses and say the president is not aware or whatever. His body language is definitely very obvious. I'm afraid that Nigeria is going the way, if it has not gone already, the way of Somalia, Sudan, and other such places that we used to think were far away from us. We are witnessing it live. When I saw the story in Punch yesterday, which was originally carried by the Herald Desert or something like that, one newspaper, I saw it for the first time, and I saw the pictures, I saw the videos of Sheikh Gumi going into the forest to negotiate with bandits in Zamfara. I couldn't believe I was looking at my dear beloved country, Nigeria. Some of us believe that Nigeria, the greatness of Nigeria, yes, we can say we were forced together, but spiritually, there must have been a reason why God made us the biggest. So why do we want to decimate ourselves and then reduce ourselves into splintered groups? I don't have any answer to that. But it seems some people are determined to take us down that road. Those who are alleging that there is a Fulanization agenda and Islamization agenda, maybe they are right and we are wrong. So I'm hoping that some of our speakers here, I've seen my brother Colonel Nyiam and all of them, and those of them who have been in the military, maybe they will be able to tell us more about these issues. Then finally, on the issue of politics. There was a video I made recently and people were talking about, oh, you spoke well about the Igbo question. And it's not about speaking well. I've always been saying it. I think it just, because of the mood of the nation, it finally resonated with the people. You see, we have 6 geopolitical zones in Nigeria. And if you trace the history of Nigeria, let's start from the first republic to now, you realize that you've had a Tafawa Balewa from Bauchi, you've had the Owele Nnamdi Azikiwe from Southeast, you've had Aguiyi Ironsi, you've had General Gawan, you've had Murtala Muhammad, you've had Obasanjo, you've had Buhari, you've had Babangida, you've had Abacha. Okay, there was the national government headed by Chief Shunekon. Then you had Abacha, followed by Obasanjo, followed by Yar'Adua. You will see that Nigeria is largely controlled by the military. Because even when we said we returned to civilian government in 1999. It went to a retired general. When he handed over to the brother of a retired general, Umaru Musa Yar'Adua, the brother of Shehu Musa Yar'Adua. Jonathan just came by accident. And then we returned to Buhari, and that's where we are now. So it is obvious to me that if care is not taken, even those who are dreaming that the thing will come to the south in 2023, maybe it's mere wishful thinking. Yeah, because there is no way the Fulani can sustain what they have started now unless they have their hold on power. So don't let anybody dismiss it and say, oh, it's not possible. Oh, it must come to the south. We're taking it for. So when it comes to the south, then the southerners themselves will now have to look at the issue of morality. So where does it go in the south? So does it mean that it will never go to those who have not had it, or it will just be, will be passing like a relay race from northwest to southwest, back to northwest? I don't think it is going to be that easy. So these are some of the issues that I'm looking forward to, and I hope that we'll be able to address them. Thank you. God bless you.
Thank you very much, Chief Dele Mahmoud. You've spoken well. I mean, in your last video that you made, it would only take a madman not to appreciate the facts that you read out there. As you said here, this is not the first time that, that wasn't the first time that you said something like that. But because of the mode of the nation at the moment, that's why it appeared people eventually began to listen. Nothing you said there is new to everyone. I've said this privately to you. I'm saying it publicly again. Thank you for lending your voice when it matters. On that note, in summary of what you've said, you have basically said to us and to everyone listening that the president reads the newspaper. So like the governor of Benue State saying the president might not be aware. What you are telling the world today is that the president is reading the paper and that the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria is indeed aware of what is happening. On that note, I will bring, let me go a little bit. Now we've stayed a little bit down south now. Let me move down to our good brother across the Middle Belt and the north, what we call the southern Kaduna. I will bring in the president of the southern Kaduna in the person of Dr. Jonathan Asake. I am aware that he is in, I think, Akwa Ibom or Cross River now, attending a burial. So if it is convenient for you, my brother, Jonathan Asake, can you please unmute and make your contribution if you can get. Asake, are you able to unmute yourself? Jonathan, are you able to unmute? Okay, we'll come back to that. I think I have, please raise up your hand. I know Tabara Samuel, also from Southern Kaduna here. Tabara Samuel, I can't see, I mean, I can see a couple of Samuels in here. Some, doesn't have a last name. So if you let me know if that is you, then I can easily allow you to unmute yourself. Tabara Samuel. Tabara Samuel, are you there? Or let me go back to Jonathan. Jonathan, can you try once more? Jonathan, can you try once more? You can, if that becomes an issue, Jonathan. Okay, let's try once more, Jonathan. Okay, can you unmute yourself quickly? Yes.
Okay, I've unmuted myself.
Yes. Thank you very much for joining us. I understand you are on transit. You can make your submission. It appears your connection is a little bit unstable. So can we try once more? If not, then I'll go back to the next guest and come back to you later. Oh, okay. So he's gone out. Now, please, anyone that has questions, we are going to take questions at the, after all the presenters have made their submissions. Please just be aware that that's the way we are going to handle this evening. Let me, on this note, bring in the chief, or rather, Obueshi, Comrade, the only Comrade Obueshi. Can you quickly come and make your presentation? That is Comrade Deli Ajufo, Coordinator, Anioma Redemption Group. Comrade, are you able to
yes,
do that?
I think I've unmuted myself, actually. Okay, and I hope you can hear me. There was once we met one of your programs. I kept asking the same question. Do we really want to remain an entity? Do we want to remain one country? And if we do, on what basis? I think privately I sent you a video, which I had hoped you would air on this program, but for some considerations, you declined, and I can understand that. But let me say that I was born in the North. And in 1954, I recall an interview from a BBC journalist with Sir Amadi Bello. He disparaged Igbos to no end. He actually introduced what they call Northernization program, whereby any Nigerian who is not a Northerner would be fired from any Northern institution. That was pre-independence, any Northern institution. And they would prefer to hire a foreigner. And he averred further that in the event there was no foreigner, any Southern Nigerian who would be employed on contract basis. That was in 1954. A year after there was a riot in Kano between the North, well, mainly Hausa Fulanis then, and Ndibo. I was a victim of the same riot in Jos. I was in primary school. We had to run to the hills to hide from the assailants who were Fulanis. Then in 1957, after the conference in London for independence, I recall Tafawa Balewa saying that he was vehemently against this independence because there was no basis for unity or union between the North and South. His words, all these Southerners swarming all over the North, we don't want them. We have nothing in common. What I'm trying to say is there has been this consistent hatred between, well, on the part of the North for the South. Then, after independence, just a week or two after independence, the same Sir Amadi Bello went on air and was interviewed by the Parrot newspaper. I don't know how many of us recall his statement, that this new nation called Nigeria should be an extension of the estate of their great-grandfather Othman Dan Fodio. They shall ruthlessly prevent a transfer of power to the South. They shall use the Middle Belt as willing tools and prevent the South from control of their lives. I paraphrased it. What is happening now? We don't own our lives in the South. We can't go to farms. We can't travel between Lagos and Delta and the East. If we must remain the same, I align with Dr. Don Pedro Obaseki that rogue constitution must be brought down. I listened to an interview where somebody said, if you want the constitution brought down, you must go to the National Assembly. The National Assembly is a fraudulent establishment as well, because it's based on the same fraudulent constitution. So there must be a way of bringing it down. And it has been manifested, it has been declared by many how it can be done. We are not afraid of facing the Fulanis. They tried this thing in Central African Republic, where they constitute 6% of the population. And when they had opportunity, they enthroned Fulanis in all the sensitive positions, just like Buhari has done. Buhari is very aware of what he's doing in Nigeria. Let nobody make excuses for him. In 2011, he said if he had his way, he will turn Nigeria into an Islamic state. It's there on tape. So for solution, we have to begin to discuss the issue of bringing down the constitution. But we have inconsistent people, particularly in the South, particularly in the Southeast, where people there don't know whether they are Igbos or Hausa Igbos or whatever. Where somebody will wake up and say, I'm going to pay 100 million naira for any cow killed in the South, in my constituency, and yet you have not addressed the issue of damaged crops in your farm or the farms of your constituents. We have to have people who have knowledge of the feelings of their people. Today we are extolling Governor Otom. If they call a meeting of northern governors, he will attend tomorrow. Therein lies our problem. Where does he belong? Himself, Darius, Lalong, the people in Niger, Bello in Kogi, they are suffering the same fate we are suffering in the South. But when they call a meeting of northern governors, they attend. Who shall tell the president the truth? We are here talking. He's aware of what we are saying here. Don't deceive yourself. So we have to bring down the constitution. That's one. I take you back to the issue because we are facing serious existential problems today. We are being reminded by Sir Edward Grey, the foreign minister of Great Britain in 1914, principally the 3rd of August, when he said, this land shall go out and we don't know how many of us will see it when it's turned on. The drums of war has been sound everywhere. We don't want war in Nigeria. But now we are having warlords. The Eastern Security Network is there. Amoteco is there. We have Egbesu drumming up. Atentio in Middle Belt is warming up. Where will it end? The hegemony, arrogance of the Fulani must be checked. And until we do that, we're not going anywhere. I'll stop there. I know I'll have opportunity to talk again and maybe answer some questions. But we must stop this hubristic hegemony of the Fulanis. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Comrade there. Yes, we will come back to when we take questions and when, if questions are directed at you, or when we give the closing remarks, then you have the opportunity to make further interventions. Now, in summary, what you basically have said is that, we need to ask ourselves the fundamental question: if we want to be part of this federation or this union, if yes, how? You further went down to say that, in order to make progress, we must, and you agreed with Dr. Don Pedro Obaseki, bring down the constitution if
Absolutely.
we want to make progress. Thank you very much for that intervention. On that note, I will try once more to see if I can get back the president of SOKAPU in the person of Dr. Jonathan Asake, that is the Southern Kaduna people. Okay, so Dr. Asake, are you there? Jonathan, can you unmute? Jonathan, I thought you unmuted yourself before now. Can you quickly, because I can see your back, can you unmute yourself, please, and make your submission?
Okay.
Now we have you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
The network here seems to be very poor. I'm in the village of the late Dogesin Kanga at the burial wake-up service. So you will bear with me if you cannot hear me very well. The network is fluctuating. Can I go on?
Yes, go ahead. We can hear you loud and clear now.
Okay. Thank you very much and for the opportunity. I have not been part of the meeting from the beginning. I've been on the road, but I understand the topic that you are discussing. It has to do with these killer herdsmen that have been become a menace in every community in all the regions now. It started in the Middle Belt, particularly in Plateau, then to southern Kaduna, about 12 years ago. You may recall in 2012, I think, when a town called Dogono-Hawa was invaded by these herdsmen, what we call herdsmen, but they are actually militia terrorists, Fulani terrorists, and they killed over 500 people in one night. And nothing was done about it. And they had continued until today. They are in the southern part of the country. Now, the question that people ask is, what are these killer herdsmen looking for? Based on my experience and what we have experienced in the southern part of Kaduna State, most of our communities that have been displaced, in fact, they still remain in IDP camps, not IDP camps organized by the government, but they remain in uncompleted buildings and neighboring communities. And the government watch over that without intervention, without any food supply or necessary relief materials. But the government continue to ensure that these herdsmen block any attempt by members of the communities, indigenous communities, to get back to their communities. And what does it mean? Simple. It's change in demographics. Is to supplant indigenous populations in all these communities that have been attacked in the Middle Belt and in the southern part of Nigeria. And even in the core northern part, where Hausa communities are, is to supplant these communities and bring in populations of Fulani people. And there's an exercise now of demarcation of enumeration areas by the Population Commission of Nigeria. And most of the communities that have been displaced in our areas, their names have been changed to Fulani names. And so as we are going into the population count, what the agenda that is being played is to count these areas as Fulani communities, not the indigenous communities that have been displaced. That is why, so it's an agenda that is actually playing out. It's the agenda that actually predates the Buhari government, but the Buhari government is brazenly implementing it, taking cover under the fraudulent 1999 constitution, which has given him those sweeping powers unchallenged to continue to allow invaders, Fulani invaders, to invade communities, and the government authorities using the security agencies protect the invaders. And any attempt by the victim communities to defend themselves, they are arrested by the Nigerian military, by the security forces, and they are detained. That is the story every day in our areas. So the agenda here is the change in demographics in the Middle Belt and southern Nigeria, and implant Fulani communities. And that shows also the nexus between what is playing out and the political agenda for Nigeria. What's the political agenda? When the population, when the demographics are changed, and we have new populations in those places, then when it is time for politics, for election, then areas that would have been occupied by indigenous populations are now occupied, even on paper, by Fulani population. And that shows that the Fulani will now take over power if the constitution is going to be challenged. They want to walk ahead of time, ahead of our demands for restructuring, ahead of our demands for bringing down the constitution, and institutionalize themselves, put structures in place that will make it impossible for any other person in this country to have political power if it is election or whatever, by whatever means. And so the rest of the country becomes slaves and slaves forever. So this is what is lying bare before us. Now, I have seen many members of that, particularly today, and I have seen many politicians from there, swallowing this bait, believing that, these are transferred east to the Igbos. Far from it. The agenda here is to cause a divide and rule, hand over power person, or to a southerner anymore. What is on the ground is to continue to perpetuate power in the hands of corn or middle belt. Now, together that they want to form a new mega party. For how many times shall we continue each time we want to form a new mega party? When they failed, power will slip from their hands. They went and instigated people that did not understand, including Southerners. Including middle belters, and the schemings of brought in what we call the new PDP. And the same people that brought in the new PDP that was a scheme. The new PDP now came up with the APC, with the rights of any other citizen, been implementing an agenda that has been lying low for long. Now, today, and going on. He is formed. They are the same people that were APC, and they will take over Chinyo manner. So what is the way out? The way out is that, look, it is this constitution, this very fraudulent constitution that we are operating today, has given rise to, is hiding in the garment of democracy today. It is this constitution that has given rise to a National Assembly that has become a rubber stamp assembly. That even when service chiefs that we know they are carrying serious burdens of international crime, they are now being reappointed as or nominated. I have to amend the constitution, and we take it to the National Assembly as presently constituted.
Sadly, Jonathan, thank you very much for your submission. I think we've heard what you've said. Jonathan, if you can hear me clearly.
Check zone by zone. Go on. You will see that over 1 nationalities coming from Kaduna State.
Okay, Jonathan, thank you very much for your submissions. If you can hear me clearly, obviously your connection at some point started doing the Nigerian thing. To summarize your submission, you clearly stated that there is a deliberate plan to supplant and to change the demography of the southern and the middle belt. And also in your proposition for solution, you aligned with previous speakers that agreed that the issue is with the 1999 Constitution, and that Constitution should be brought down. Once more, thank you very much for your contribution. And that would allow me go back and now, this is not men affair. For so many people who have commented on the flyer saying, "Mazi, why do you have to line up so many men?" I said, well, when you have such conferences and you reach out to people, you can only make use of those that accept to come and air their views. On that note, I will be bringing in the only lady in the house, a good friend, and the Amazon of the Niger Delta in the person of Yinka Briggs. As you all know, she is an environmental and a human rights activist. Yinka, you have the floor now to make your submission. Thank you very much for joining us this evening.
Thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. Mazi, I can be heard, yeah?
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear, and I like your barrage.
Great.
I must say that. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I've listened attentively to everyone. I was able to log in just when Obaseki was talking. I've listened to Dr. Jonathan very well. First of all, I want to start in this manner. I want to say that God did not make Nigeria. Lugard did. That's one of my position. The second position is this. I am Ijo. Ijo people are in 5 states of what is today known as the Niger Delta region. I am one of the Ijos that are in Rivers State. In Rivers State, we have other ethnic nationalities. We have Ogoni, Ikwere, Ekpeye, so many other ethnic nationalities. People will call in later and say, I didn't mention them, I apologize. Rivers State was created as it is today just after the first coup d'etat. And at that point, Bayelsa was in Rivers State. Today, Bayelsa is not in Rivers State. My people and I were formerly in what is today the defunct Eastern region. We are not in Eastern region today. We are in what is one of the 6 zones, the South-South zone. I prefer to continue to identify it as the Niger Delta because that is the geographical area that suits who I am very well for me. I am a Nigerian today simply because I am Ijo. And I am of Rivers State today because that is the creation that we are working with, which is in the problematic 1999 Constitution. Of this, I am certain that whether Nigeria stays together or not, I will remain an Ijo woman, an Ijo daughter. My geographical location will not change unless nature changes it or my people decide to relocate. I don't know where to. The Ijos will not decide majorly to become any other set of people or answer any other name but Ijaws. Now, having made this presentation, I agree totally with a lot of submissions that is all over Nigeria today, which is to say this, that Nigeria is a finished, Nigeria today for me is finished. But I say this as an Ijaw person. I do not say this as any other ethnic nationality, but as an Ijaw person. Now, my primary aim today, seeing what is going on in this country, is not how do we save Nigeria. That's not my aim. And I will say that loud and clear anywhere. My aim is how do my people survive? How do we survive? Because very clearly, the intent is to destroy, enslave every other person. And by one set of people, and I will not accept to be a slave, and I will not accept that my people will be a slave. So, how do we move forward? Where do we move to from here? In my humble opinion, as an Ijaw daughter of the region that I am proud to be from, with so many other ethnic nationalities that I am proud to refer to as my brothers and my sisters, we have to accept that what is key today for the Yoruba man, I want to believe for the Igbo man and so many other people today, should be how do we survive inside Nigeria or outside of Nigeria. It is reckless on anybody's part to try to convince me as a person now, at my age, with my experience, what I have seen in Nigeria. I saw the independence. My father brought me from the UK at 4, and that was before independence of Nigeria, into Rivers State, into the creeks of Niger Delta. And I know what we have given up. What the solution should be is that we have to agree as a people that our independence and our survival as ethnic nationalities should be paramount. And that's what I will follow. Any other person that wants to follow that path, I will follow that path. Any other path will lead to failure and destruction of my people, and it will not be what I see for us in Nigeria. Now, the second thing, let us look at the Fulani killer herdsmen. This is an identity that has been given to them, not by Nigerians, but externally by people who calculate violence, have identified them as such. We now agree that they attempted this so many other places in Africa. We now know that that is the attempt in Nigeria. If that is the attempt in Nigeria, and they are the only ethnic nationality today that are legally allowed to carry arms to destroy and protect themselves. They destroy other people and they use the AK-47 to protect themselves. Nobody else has a right to arm themselves or to protect and defend themselves. This is pathetic. It is unacceptable. I have received calls from all over the place. People are wondering. People are saying, you Ijaw people, what are you doing? People are asking all kinds of questions because it's unbelievable that we have sat down from 2015 and watched this thing develop gradually. Look, if we do not, in my humble opinion, if we do not accept that We have to save ourselves before we can save Nigeria. When I hear people say the way forward for Nigeria, there is no way forward for Nigeria. The way forward that has been taken by other people, the only way that is forward is what is good. The Yoruba man, what is good for the Yoruba man should be decided by the Yoruba man. What is good for the Igbo man should be decided by the Igbo man, and so on and so on. And if at some point we're able to meet, then that's wonderful and great. But it will be our choice individually that we make. I saw Dele Mahmoud's article where he said, who will tell the president? And I went on Facebook and I said, who will tell Dele Mahmoud that Nigeria is dead? Because he says Nigeria is dying. Who will tell the president? I said, no, somebody needs to tell Dele that Nigeria is dead. It is you and I. It is our individual ethnic nationalities that is alive. Look, if we do not make the world to understand that our survival as ethnic nationalities is more important than the survival of Nigeria, the only reason why the world wants Nigeria to survive is because they see Nigeria as a trade. They see Nigeria as a place where they will send their goods for us to buy. They do not see us as a people that they need to help to survive. So if that be the case, I do not want to survive because I am a very large market for the white man. My mother is British, but I do not see myself surviving as Ann Kyo Breaks, as an Ijo daughter in Nigeria. So because I can be seen as a potential market. We are not potential markets. We are human beings and we have to survive. And the question, Mazi, should be not anymore, how do we solve the Nigerian problem? How does the Igbo man survive? How will the Yoruba, look, if the Igbo man has to go back to Igbo land, Alandi Igbo, then he will have no choice but to go back. After all, during the war, didn't they go back? What is this? That we have to continue to be running this race that we are losing, and we are running it in the name of Nigeria. And some people believe that they own Nigeria and they will run Nigeria the way they want to run Nigeria. And we are begging. We are begging to be Nigerians. I refuse to be a beggar to be Nigerian. I am an Ijo woman. I am an Ijo daughter that unfortunately today find myself in a country that identifies me as Nigerian. And if the price I have to pay is that my creeks will be taken over by strangers, my oil will be controlled by strangers, empowered and enabled by my own brothers and sisters, then at least anytime I have this opportunity, I will speak my mind and damn the consequences.
Thank you very much.
Nigeria is failed, and I do not expect my people to fail with Nigeria. I expect my people to survive while Nigeria is failed. Thank you.
Thank you very much. You've always been speaking your mind, and this evening you have not once more failed to speak your mind. You know, the summary, you made a very striking statement, which is a truism, basically, that Nigeria was never created by God. That Lord Lugard did. And basically, you said there is an intent to enslave and to occupy. To solution, you propose that you agree with other independent ethnic nationalities, and that is a non-negotiable fact. You know that others will eventually, anyone that agrees that they are going to be free, the people you will join. Thank you very much once more for that contribution. Now, on this note, I would want to go back to the Southwest. And my guest next is no other person than, you know, a person that you read almost every day, in the person of Yinka Odumakin, who is the spokesperson of Afenifere, a socio-cultural organization of the Yoruba people in Nigeria. Now, Yinka, I want you to please, in your submission, can we use the opportunity to x-ray what has happened in the Yoruba nation in the last couple of months or weeks vis-a-vis the sudden emergence of Igboho, and also, in your conclusion, what you think is the way out of this quagmire. Thank you very much, my brother, once more, and the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mazi. Thank you, participants. Thank you, all listeners. We know that the Southwest has been very strong on the need to restructure Nigeria, to bring back federalism. We have been quite long on that matter, but now it's reaching a point where we are asking ourselves, who do we want to restructure with? Killer herdsmen? If we restructure Nigeria, will they stop killing? Will the killings end all over Nigeria, rapings of women and the rest? Look at what happened. You're asking what has been happening in the Southwest of late. You would remember that only 2 years ago, the governor of Ondo State said that herdsmen should vacate the forest reserves in Ondo State. Even before the herdsmen could speak, it was Buhari spokesman, Garuba Shehu, that first came out to say, no, the governor, you don't have such power. As if every land in every state in Nigeria is not vested in the governor. But because he was playing Buhari agenda, who is the grand patron of Itiala, that's why he made that. And that's why Governor Tom should realize that Buhari knows what he's saying. Buhari knows what he's doing. He's carrying out an agenda for his Fulani people. Look, in 1985, when Buhari was military head of states, they had a conference of ECOWAS, of OAU, and there was a Nigerian from the Southeast who was contesting for the post of Secretary General of OAU, and a Fulani man from the Niger Republic. Buhari, as Nigerian head of state, voted for the Fulani man from the Niger Republic against the Nigerian from the Southeast of Nigeria. So the man knows clearly what he's doing. It's not about Nigeria. He's a president of Fulani. And once you cross to Arewa land, we can count on their fingertips today those who are still mousing Nigeria with us. It was Madam Ankyo Briggs who woke me yesterday when he saw, what is his name? Vagaradima, as he was lambasting the governor of Ondo State, that he had no right, he had no power to ask herdsmen to leave the forest of Ondo State. I said, when did my brother become somebody talking like the animals who are defending their right to stay in the bush, in the forest? Human beings don't live in forest. We cannot go to Sokoto and say that I want to live in your forest. We are not animals, we are human beings. But it shows that most of them, they are clear in their agenda. Since they have been killing people all over the south and middle belts, which Fulani man have we ever seen condemning the killing? No. But now that the victims are rising up saying, no, we can't take it anymore. You can see all of them. Even Erufai is talking. Northern Elders Forum, Forum. All of them from the north are now opening their mouth. Because it's the lives of the people that matter. But the lives of the indigenous southerners, middle belt people, they don't matter. And my brother, Asake, I was with him a few months ago in Kaduna. We saw when Herdsmen came as governor in 2015, he openly defended Fulani from outside Nigeria who are coming to Kaduna to kill people, said they are coming to avenge their cows that were killed in 2011, and that they has gone out of Nigeria to go and settle them and pay them for their cows that were killed. So it is not that these people don't appreciate lives of human beings, but it's only the lives of their brothers that matter to them. Our lives mean nothing to them. And so for us to continue to talk only about restructuring, if we restructure only, can we live together in peace? And that's why I'm revisiting my brother, Don Pedro, who started this. That first of all, where we must start is to bring down this constitution. We cannot live together under this constitution. Let's write a new constitution that gives everybody the right to live their lives and with an option to opt out of Nigeria if you are tired. There are Eritrea is in their constitution. You can opt out, you can exit if you are tired of the country. But to continue to deceive ourselves, what we have in Nigeria today is a clash of civilizations. After the end of the Cold War, Fukuyama wrote a book, The End of History. And he was talking of a unipolar world that will be preached all over the world. It's a new world order and the rest. And it was celebrated until his teacher wrote his own book, which he called The Clash of Civilizations. That yes, the war will not see war of ideologies, but the war of civilizations. People also define themselves as who are we? Is that defining moment that we are now? A few days ago, Chief Olufalayi was on here. I saw him when he was saying that people are talking some nonsense in Nigeria, that oh, people are profiling Fulani. But what do they mean by profiling? Who does not know a Fulani man when you see one? The Fulani man is different from a Joe woman or Joe man, different from a Yoruba man, different from a Igbo man, different from a Midwest person. It's distinct. Any victim of a Fulani man will know that the person who was attacked means a Fulani man. When they killed the daughter of Afenifere leader, Funke Olakunrin, and the policeman in Norway where she was killed told the junior brother that don't kill your sister, they are Fulani herdsmen. That's how the people around here. And we said it for the public that this what policemen at the scene told the brother. One lousy politician in Southwest came to Akure and said that people are saying it's a herdsmen. Where are the cows? And as God will have it, when SARS arrested the suspects, the 4 suspects who are on trial now for Funke's murder, they are all Fulani men, including military officials. So Akamoto said that we are profiling them. They are committing crimes. They are owing us of crimes. Like Governor Autumn said, when they killed 78 people in Benue State in one day, they claimed they were the killers. Have they been tried? Nobody's on trial to date for the killing of the 78 people. Where instead, the president called Governor Autumn to Abuja and asked him to go and find a peaceful way to live with his killer neighbors. We must bring down the constitution. We, as Afenifere, we are not yet openly canvassing that everybody must go his own way. But it's clear that the Fulani have reached a point where they believe, and they're acting in daily, that they don't mind if the country destructure. And only yesterday, like Madaki was saying. Service chiefs who have fed the country, who have been kept for over 50 months, Buhari reappointed them as ambassadors because they want to shield them from international criminal courts so that they will not answer for their crimes. And the last task which Mr. performed before was removed was that soldiers went to Ogun State. They went with herdsmen to communities where they are beating community leaders, beating others who are not cooperating with herdsmen. Like Governor Tem said, we are not slaves to anybody and will not be slaves to anybody. Yoruba, Jos, Igbo, we have all made it clear that our condition to continue to live in this contraption is if we are ready to live together as brothers and sisters, as equal citizens, not as slaves to a superior race, to the Fulani, who are lording over the rest of us, because one of them is Commander-in-Chief of Nigeria. We saw all this thing coming, and that is why some of us can beat our chests that we did not support Buhari in 2015, even though I worked for him in 2011. But by 2015, the agenda had become clear. And where Nigeria is today, we cannot know peace under the 1999 Constitution. There cannot be any peaceable way of living together and those killed, except we all decide to live our lives, to live as civilizations, and not to live under these arrangements. We can't continue this way. And our people must rise up and join hands across South and Middle Belts to say no to these killings, that we can't accept this anymore. It's enough. Suppose to ensure that the lives of citizens are protected, himself and his officials, they are defending the Fulanis and Fulani interests against the rest of us. We must not continue to accept that. That is enough. We did not sign to be slaves in Nigeria. We are Nigerians. If you want to fellow Nigerians, you must live as fellow Nigerians, not as animals to be killed by Fulanis. We have had enough of the killings.
So thank you very much for that wonderful submission. It's very clear, and you said it loud and clear. And, as we might say in some parlance, it's very audible to the deaf and visible to the blind. And you rightly said that restructuring is no longer enough. Who are we, with a rhetorical question, who are we actually restructuring with? Now, your solution is very, again, aligning with others, that we must bring down the Constitution with, if at all it needs to be, once it's brought down and it's re-engineered, there must be an exit option therein, where people who are dissatisfied could actually come together, have a referendum with some minimal threshold that once that is reached, then there should be a peaceful exit. Thank you once more for that wonderful contribution. I would want to now bring my good friend and brother, Colonel Tony Nyiam. And, when at some point within the military that the nation was drifting, they at some point intervened, trying to make the necessary corrections. So here we are in a civilian government, and Colonel Tony Nyiam, we still here to lend his voice, Okay, so Colonel, can you please take the floor and make your submission?
Good evening, everybody. I must begin by remembering a few names. I will begin with J.S. Tucker, Isaac Boro, Chukwumanzogo, Gideon Oka, and the other April 1990 patriots, Dr. Fashion, and of course, young men, Gani Adams, Nnamdi Kanu, Tompolo, I forget the name of the one living in Rivers. I forgot his name. Asake. And of recent, Sunday Adeyemo, and another man I respect, Tony Nadi, and a senior mentor and friend who died recently, Admiral Ndubisi Kanu. All these names I've mentioned, it's quite clear to them, as it's clear to me, to my humble mind, that consistently, right from time, what we have been fighting, it's colonialism. The colonialists, internal colonizers, use the following instruments for the furtherance of their land grabbing or colonization. One, the Nigerian state's instruments of power, the armed forces, and the police force. Two, the political parties. Three, the population, national population census boards or commissions, and the so-called Independent National Electoral Commission. One of the reasons why they always one up against the rest is that the rest of people are like dogs, that the moment you show them a bone, they get distracted by trying to meet immediate needs. And in so doing, they are misled off the gate, and the gate is left open for them to enter. In all this, there is a long research center in the UK that has been helping our internal colonizers. I would mention the name of Professor Kate Green, who is a fellow in St. Anthony's College, Oxford, and a team of ex-British colonialist officers who served in the North. They are their research base. They are the ones who back up the research centers in Arewa House, where they are strategic in their thinking. I use the word strategic. In that strategic thinking comes from critical thinking. Whilst we, who are supposed to be more of the academia, we are full of wishful thinking, which takes us nowhere. Now, the problem is, the solution is that to bring down the constitution. How do we bring down the constitution? Because that is very easy to say. We have started the processes, but one of the things people forget is that nothing can happen if we do not accept that we need to go the way of a liberation struggle. It may be by purely liberation theology, certainly not prosperity theology. Because what we're experiencing is a continuity of colonialism, one way or the other. Now, our soldiers themselves are being inadvertently used to further business in cattle ranching or cattle, whatever. A lot of our soldiers, unknowingly to themselves, get involved in the business of buying cows from Taraba, and then they now give these cows to some headers, Fulani headers. And because they have their investment there, which is good money to me, they inadvertently defend the trade. And this is why you find soldiers are helping headers in Ogun and parts of the country, and in my part of the country too. Some of these soldiers who are helping, if you go and check, are not necessarily Fulani soldiers. So we need to educate our brothers that it's a high time they know that. So all my appeal is that, yes, we can start all the processes. It's got to get to a point where we cannot shy away from a liberation struggle. Thank you.
Thank you very much. You know, it's always a joy, I must say, and I have said that multiple times, it's always a joy to listen to you. And as you've rightly said, I mean, you know, your conclusion sums it up. You know, I don't know how else to say it. I can't put it better as you have done, that at some point that this struggle that we are in already, you said it's liberation struggle, I would say it is already, and it has been, sadly, that it appears everything being said falls on deaf ears. However, as a people, and the peace-loving people at that, we must keep talking. We must keep making that engagement. We must keep doing the things that ought to be done. Now, I will bring the last but not the least person here to make a submission. And it appears I do not have Samuel Tabara in this place. But Samuel, if you're here, you can raise up your hand. But before Tamuel comes in, I would want to bring back, or rather bring in Akin Fapohunda, who is the Secretary Steering Committee, Eminent Elders Forum. Now, Akin, Dr. Akin, by the way, Akin is going to do us a presentation. There is a reason why I left him to be at this point, so that everybody would have been here and for him to make his presentation. Dr. Akin, if you can unmute yourself, and you have the authority, I believe, to make, to share your screen so you can quickly make your presentation. Dr. Akin, over to you.
Thank you very much. Good evening, everybody. My regards to everyone. Just have a small challenge. I have to change another source now, so I'm not able to share, but I can talk quickly about my presentation. I appreciate what everybody has said this evening. We are all on point. The issue is that we are all operating in silos. We are all feeling the pains in all ways. And all what you have said this evening, they are all known. We now have to change. My first proposal here is that this meeting should not just end without forming a strategic thinking group. I hope you are hearing me, Mazi.
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear.
Okay. We should not go away without thinking of forming a strategic thinking group. Many things cannot be said and open like this. Our activities, some are public and some have to be covered. With the last speaker, I align with him. Now, what's the objective? Nigeria, as we know it, has unraveled. It is no longer redeemable. We have to restructure. It is not if, but it is now when how soon. The demolition has started. It's either we let it just fall freely or we manage the process. It's a choice. That's why I'm saying our talking has been nice, we have been educated, we have to do more than talking. I want to clarify one point today for the audience, because people talk about restructuring, people say, what does it mean? What is it? And it's so simple. You can restructure to 0. You can have 10% restructuring. You can have 50%. It depends on agreement and understanding. In the paper which I will share with Mazi later, we can send to all members. We can have restructured to 5 different levels. The first one, a country that is unitary command and control, like we have it now. Another level is strong center appendage federating units. The third level is voluntary cooperation and collaboration of federating units. The fourth one, autonomous federating units with rotational leadership at the center. Common currency, common flag, common embassy overseas, no more. Is there a country's restructuring? The last one is to have every nationality to be a republic. All I've said, 5 of them, they are restructuring. If you accept which one, you can form an agreement that reflects any of the 5. So don't let us say, oh, we don't want restructuring, we want this. All we are doing is to restructure. We demolish and rebuild in the way we want. Simple. Okay, in brief, restructuring towards end. The body I represent, the Eminent Elders Group, we have given thoughts to this. We have just issued a document 2 days ago, formally signed and ratified. The elements of what should work is in that document. And quickly, I'll just go by the elements. Every nationality should have freedom in its own territory. Every nationality should have right to form its own sub-regional units the way it likes. Every region, if we chose to be region, we have freedom to march and demarch and rearrange within its territory without interference. If we agree to be a country, every region will determine its own INEC. There will be no federal INEC. You elect your delegates to come to Abuja. There will be no federal INEC. There is no cheating of population anymore. That's if you agree to be a country. I've also said too that we need to have an exit clause. Even in the region, for example, supposing the Okuns in Kwara, they join with Ekitis, but in 5 years, they don't like it anymore. They should be free to say, we don't want to stay with Ekiti anymore. It should not be that we have a region where you'll be permanently in prison. So there should be fluid, exit clause should be fluid over time. I'm just saying, because not to waste so much time. Now we are worried about legislative list. That's the issue. In our document, we have just 10 items in the exclusive list, just 10. And then we have 16 on concurrent. Every other thing is residual. Residual, that's the blueprint we are proposing. And so what are we saying then? We want to restructure Nigeria. We want to reach a new agreement. How do you go about it? There are 4 steps which I'm proposing for us to consider now beyond talking. The first step is that this body, this group, and the Southern Middle Belt Forum, and anybody who wants, we should now agree that there should be no elections in Nigeria again until we are restructured to the level that suits everybody. This idea was agreed to by the Yoruba group in July last year. It should now be a national pride that no more elections. We should confront our political leadership, no more elections unless there's a change. That's one thing we have to do. Number two, 1963 Constitution is the closest to what can be used to rework a new model. And it has so many advantages. It's a very short document. It should be a template for us to adopt. It's a document, many people have not even seen it. Most people don't have it. If you got it and you look at it, you will see that it's a very elegant document that shows what we have in Nigeria now. It was agreed to by the major blocs in Nigeria. The document was based on relation between federal and region, autonomously. It's a parliamentary system. It has reduced exclusive list. So it's a good template to adopt. So this body, our group, should decide to relaunch 1963 Constitution as a template. I'm not saying we'll take it 100%, but it's a good template with which to modify. Far, far superior to 1999 Constitution. Members may be aware, the Tony Nadi group issued a force majeure December 16. It's going to expire 15th of March. That's a good date for us to start the initiative, to start the campaign, that what is the next step? We want to use 1963 Constitution as a template to reform Nigeria. And I said, we can restructure that everybody will carry his own flag. We can restructure and decide what is the element of cooperation. It is still restructuring. Okay? So that Niners declaration, we should key into it. We should amplify it. We should raise it up for the next 1 year. If you don't do it, let me warn now, we have only this year to do something, because once we reach 2022 and the money back starts sharing nomination forms, they start buying slots, we will not have impact again, because they have money to, that means we have 3 years lost. The earlier we start this mobilization, the better. Action number 3, we are all saying we want a Jaw nation, we want Yoruba nation, we want, supposing we have the nation tomorrow, how do we run? We should start thinking now, Nigeria is done, Nigeria is done. So how do we organize ourselves? How do the Yorubas organize itself to run as a region or as a country? It's not enough to just say, oh, we are going to be a region, we are going to be this. We have to organize now, and the document we have already provides for various things. We have to form movements for the actualization of regions. If you think you want to be a region, you need to know who believes in it and form a movement that will be ready to take over the running of the region. And no region is too small. Iceland is just 535,000 population, and it's a country in the UN. How big is Gambia? So the Gbagis can be a region on its own. The Nupes can be a region on its own. In fact, it should be based on language, based on culture, so that you are just kit and kin. We have provisions on how to get this done in our document, which we circulate to Mass Secretariat. So if we don't organize, when the country finally demolishes, we won't know what to do. It's high time we start organizing now. I'm pleading to all my friends who are from the Southwest. The talking is too much. My friends who are from the Biafra land, decide on your flag, decide your constitution, decide on blueprint how to run your own country or your own region, whichever one. What does autonomy mean to you? It's time to set up panels to activate restructuring in every region. If we do this, it will scare the Fulani. If they see how we are preparing for nationhood, we are preparing for regionalization, we announce committees, we mobilize. They will be isolated, they will be outflanked. And if we declare in Enugu, in Lafia, in Pategi, in Ibadan, that we are running our own, what will happen? We Fulani come and wage war of all the regions. October 1, 2021 is a target date for us to start saying we want to anticipate, we want to organize, we want to mobilize, we want to prepare for the commencement of self-government in the proposed regions. October 1, 2021. If you have no target date, if there is no milestone, we are just making noise. We don't have to have target date, we have to have milestone. And if 4 or 5 major groups in Nigeria go into this recipe I'm trying to propose, we have liberated ourselves. I know that for sure. So finally, the point I want to make now, just 1 minute. I know time is of essence. While we are preparing for covert action, maybe war, it might come, we must also prepare for negotiations. Pre-1960, the Nigerians then did not agree to meet on their own. The Fulanis were also talking tough, even then. It took Britain to take Nigerians to London to go and talk. There was a mediator. They didn't agree on their own within Nigeria. In 1967, it took General Ankara in Ghana to call Nigerian parties together to reach agreement, though the agreement was not implemented. As we are today now, one group of Nigerians, the Fulanis, they are sitting on top of all of us. They will never agree on their own that we are equals. It's either we now open up international flank to say who can call Nigerians out of Nigeria to go and talk. Then we might have a peaceful solution. But all actions are on the table. Public action, like I've discussed in this presentation. Covert action, we are just like South Africa now, ANC, and then the military wing. Many things we have to do. Finally, gentlemen and ladies on this platform, we have to do more than talking. We need to form a group outside this forum that will think of strategies and stance, that they will just be seeing results, not just talk. I thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Akin. Obviously, what in summary, you alluded that we are operating in silos, that we should demolish, demolish in order to rebuild, and that there should be exit clause if we rebuild and have a new constitution. You also made a presentation of 4 steps to restructure, in which you now said that 1, there should be no election, or rather, there should be a campaign to stop any further election. Secondly, that the 1963 Constitution should be a baseline template to move forward. And you alluded to the fact that that people must start running the envisioned regions the way they think it should be. And also, lastly, you said that we have to leave some room for negotiations if in all these things happening. And I will say once more, thank you for your contribution. Now, I have to bring Dr. Pedro Obaseki quickly back because he has another program that is starting shortly. So that's the only reason why I'm bringing him before we take questions. So we allow him to run. Don Pedro Obaseki, if you're able to do your closing remarks, and in 2-3 minutes, then I would.
Yes, I will do that. I thank God for. I'm feeling a little. I'm happy that to hear everything we've all been saying, and quickly, I want to just say this quickly. I drafted a few things here. Previously, a couple of days ago, I wrote to members of our Midwest movement, which we've been trying to circulate, and I will just read it out, and maybe that will form a kind of submission of what is actually going down. I said, we have before us a dead country. A nation never dies, and Nigeria never attained nationhood. We have a decomposing body in search of its undertakers. What manner of entombment, what interring exequies we attend this final hour? Those are the future discourse. Those are the bullet points of a future discourse of what was once a nation. You see, prior to 1959, prior to independence, in 1959, Yinka wrote a piece. He called it "A Dance of the Forest," and there was the endearing one-liner that Nigeria was a nation born dead. And one of my friends, a very astute Midwesterner, Ogaga Ifowodu, actually reminded me of those exact lines, that I whose mother is dead, I feel this dread. I feel this dread that I will be born dead. Nigeria is born dead. We are in what the Middle Ages used to call memento mori. We are in a macabre dance of death, the dance of death. Somebody mentioned Tony Nandi. Tony Nandi and a few of us had, as far back as 2007, actually gave through the United Nations a pathway for each of us to actually assert our nationhood without letting them kill us even before we start trying to arm ourselves. Because we are indigenous peoples in our space. And as such, we have a right to self-determination, which includes whether to federate or not. And Akin Fapohunda has just explained it in a very simple way. And Yankio mentioned it. I am an Edo. I am a Midwesterner. Before I'm a Nigerian. And the 1963 Constitution, which had actually split Nigeria politically and fiscally, not physically, that is fiscally. We all forget that everything about a federation is about resource control. And that is clear. We all forget that once upon a time in this country, the revenue allocation formula was 50-30-20, where 50% was resident in the federating units. So Awolowo can give all Westerners free education. So Cocoa House can be built. And then 30% is resident and shared pro rata by all the federating units, and 20% with the federal government. Nigeria today is a country operating via reverse osmosis. Now, on December 13th or December 16th, there was a union dispute that was raised. And that was a joint proclamation to announce that Nigeria is dead. So what we are just doing, what Buhari is doing, what the Hausa Fulani is doing, is just playing roulette. Nigeria is dead. So I want to plead all of us to go back to what both Akin and Uncle Yinka has said earlier. We have to form a strategic binding. We have to forgo our personals so that we see the corporate, so that we can put in the forefront the needs and aspirations of our people, of the Ijo nation, of the Yoruba nation, of the Shekiri nation, of the Enoani peoples, of everybody, either you are from Isikwato, whether you are from Nemo. We must put those things in. A man from Ekiti land has almost everything in common with an Awori Yoruba. But what commonality does Pedro, who either speaks Bini or Urobo, have with somebody from Kaura Namuda, with somebody who is a Shua Arab from the basin of Chad. We must understand that the Fulani historically, if you have a historiographic approach, you will understand that what we are facing now is just a recourse of history playing itself back again. And as a result of that, the only way we can nip this in the bud is for us to form a strategic plate, a strategic point, where for the first time, the Nigerian federating units will begin to talk as one. If not, we are just on a bad journey to Neverland, and they will decimate us by picking us one after the other and giving our rogue political class one little title or the other, while the wretched of our earth continue to die. Now, we must take a stand. I will quote Frantz Fanon. He said, when you sit on the fence, life will pass you by on both sides. I refuse to sit on the fence. The Edo and Delta people, the Enoani people, the Anioma people, the Akoko Edo Esako, Bini Urobo, Isoko, Ijo people, we will not sit on the fence. We will not be cannon fodder for any marauding Fulani headsmen. Nobody teaches anybody how to pull the trigger. And that is the truth. And the Nigerian nation does not have the capacity to fight wars on more than one front. They've been fighting uneducated, illiterate bandits since the year 2010, and they have not succeeded. If we, the people of Edo, Delta, Ekiti, with this largest number of professors, sit down and arrange a paradigm to liberate our people, the Nigerian nation, with its 335,000 security force, cannot face us. God bless all of us while we think of how to liberate our people. Now, good night.
Thank you very much. That's a fine place to leave it at the top of the hour. Thank you once more. Then at this point, I think, we've taken round, all the speakers have done their bits, so we will start taking questions. Now, you have 1 minute, please. We have 1 minute to ask your question. You can direct your question to one of the speakers, and we will call the speaker back to, okay. So before I do that, before I go further, I think I have Tony Nnadi here to, Dr. Tony Nnadi, obviously, thank you for joining the conversation. If you are able to quickly, I know you've been listening from onset, so if you're able to make your contribution as to the topic we are discussing, you have max 3 minutes to do that. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. I welcome everybody once more. It's been gratifying listening to what all the speakers have said so far. And I can tell us right away that we have defeated the title deed by which the Fulani are making the claims they are making and doing the havoc they are doing. It is that rogue constitution validated by our signature in its preamble that took all our lands and our assets and rendered us slaves in our homelands. It is the exclusive list on that constitution that put all the guns in their hands and make it and prohibit the possession or use of guns from the rest of us. It is that constitution that took the oil and gas assets of the Niger Delta. It's that constitution that took our right to generate electricity and all the things we have complained about, to elect who will govern us, to do our road from one state capital to the other, to control our maritime resources. Everything we have ever complained about is that constitution. Incidentally, it was imposed by the Fulani through the brigandage that began in July of 1966. They managed to compound it into a constitution in 1979, which they carried forward in 1999. What we took the last 21 years doing, and when I say we, I'm talking about the remnants of NADECO that became PRONACO. PRONACO was the conference of the sovereign meeting of the ethnic nationalities across Nigeria, including the Fulani. Buhari was part of the Fulani delegation that came to PRONACO. The Sultan in Sokoto now, Syed Abubakar, was part of the Fulani delegation that came. 164 ethnic delegations sitting over a period of 2 years at plenary in Lagos, in Port Harcourt, in Enugu. We went to Jos, Kano, and came back to conclude in Lagos. And we had a draft that would have taken us back to being a federation, you know, like we tried to do in Aburi. Everything we lost in Aburi. Now, that same section pulled away from that consensus. And it was from that point that the rest of us now said, since they've adopted Sharia, under which they owe it a duty of faith to kill the rest of us as infidels, that we owe it a duty to protect ourselves from being killed by going forward to retrieve our sovereignty from the Nigeria that has been fundamentally distorted. The union agreement we had in Lancaster House had been fundamentally distorted. We agreed to be a federation, we're no longer a federation. We agreed to be a secular union, we're no longer a secular union. We agreed to be a union of equal partnership, we have now come into master and servant. And if the only thing sustaining that bad arrangement and endangering our lives is the constitution that has our signature as its validation, what we did was to go around to mobilize all of those at the receiving end of that bad arrangement to repudiate that constitution. And we were lucky. We got everybody coming out in solemn assembly. In 2015, it was in Port Harcourt, solemn assembly of the peoples of the Lower Niger. Anybody who goes to YouTube now will see the video of those who did it. The UN began to examine it 1 week after we did it. By the time we did it, they saw that we had struck a chord, and we were invited to the US to come and explain some more for them. And then from there to the UN, I was surprised to find out that they had all the things we did already with them. And so progressively, the Yoruba came out on the 7th of September in 2017 at Adamasingba to also, in a solemn assembly, repudiate that constitution. The Middle Belt did their own on the July 18th, 2018. So having all repudiated the constitution, we came back together as a Nigerian Indigenous Nationalities Alliance for Self-Determination to declare that we will not proceed to any further elections under the constitution that make us slaves. And so right now, what happened on December 16, 2020 was a culmination of a 21-year journey that began right after 1999 introduction of that 1999 constitution. And if we embrace all of the organizations that want an end to this enslavement must speak up now. The Bar Association, the churches, all of those, the labor movement, the ethnic nationality groups, everybody who wants an end to this enslavement must now say that we are unwilling to proceed with that constitution. Just embrace that joint proclamation with 130 signatories. There's no part of the South and Middle Belt that doesn't have visible, community leaders signing. The international stakeholders in the matter, talking about Fulani that is upon us. I tell you, we have entered the threshold of armed self-defense. From that 16th of December in 2020, because it is that constitution that stands our way from holding arms and defending ourselves. It is that constitution that criminalized everything we would have been doing to secure our lives and our lands. And so now that that constitution has been invalidated by our joint action, if the proclamation of one person sitting in one corner of London in the name of the crown was enough to create Nigeria in 1914, how can the joint proclamation of the indigenous nationalities across southern and middle belt of Nigeria not be enough to bring an end to that union of death, to the 1999 constitution that has our signature? So we're just telling our people that everything we need to get out of this enslavement is on the table right now. Our adversaries do not have any chance in this fight if we go about it this way, even the gun in their hand. By the time we went to Washington a few years back,
I think,
we whispered to them.
Tony, I think that, the time it's obviously it's gone past. What I may have to offer is I thank you very much for your submission. We might have to do a one-on-one, where you can have more time to elaborate on some of the stuff and highlights you've made. Now, quickly, because we are now running out of time, quickly, I will begin to take questions now, and I'll take these questions in this order based on those that raised their hands. The first person I'm going to take is, I think it's Anthony Nwachukwu, if that is correct. Anthony, can you quickly unmute yourself? Then the next person is going to be Ambassador Steve. Please, not more than 1 minute. If it goes beyond that, I'm going to cut you off. Thank you very much.
Sorry, I believe you meant to say Anthony Wade.
Okay, Wade, sorry, it's cut off somehow. Okay. I can't read the.
Yeah. Okay. So, okay. So sitting down listening to the speakers, honestly, I have wondered: do we really appreciate exactly what we have in front of us? Yesterday, we listened to the governor of Benue State, and he said something. He said he didn't think the president was aware of the situation. But just as was said by one of the speakers that was looking at it in parts, let's look at a few more scenarios. One is that the president may not be aware, in which case third parties are ruling the country. Another possibility is that the president is not there. Also, it culminates in third parties ruling the country. Another option is scenario that the president is there, he is aware, but he's not in control. What it means is that third parties may be ruling the country. Another scenario is that the president is there, he is aware, he's in control, and at one moment with the events happening. If you look at each of these scenarios, they have their connotations, possibilities, and different strategies that you need to put on the table to address the issue.
Okay, thank you very much. I mean, sadly, it's gone past a minute. Your point is well taken that obviously the president might not be aware and other conjunctures there. Can I take can we go straight to the point? Apostle Steve, please.
And I was invited to speak. I didn't.
Bless you, everybody.
They said we are going to do a one-on-one where I'm the only one addressing.
There's interference.
Yes, please go ahead.
Okay. So my question is just as simple. My question is direct to every one of us. Who are these Fulanis? Who are these Fulani? Are they indigenous Nigerians, or they are foreigner in Nigeria? That's my question.
Thank you very much. We would take that question. The question is noted down already. And once the speakers come back, then we'll push that question to them. So, Mazo Koye, please. Can you please unmute and ask your question and make your contribution for 1 minute?
Yes. Yes, thank you, Mazi. I think from all the conversations that tonight, there is two parts to it. Some people are making a point, intellectual point, and other people are making practical point, like Ankyo Briggs was doing, and the Edo guy was doing too. There is two sides to this, and we must come down to start seeing this issue practically, because like Ankyo Briggs was saying, Nigeria is dead, Nigeria is gone. The country has crossed the Rubicon. It has gone to the point of no return. So whatever that we are doing or what we are going to do is going to be practical. The time of intellectual discussion, I believe, is gone. The times of intellectual discussion, like, okay, let us define words and do this kind of thing, is gone. So let us find a way. My question is finding a way to move in a practical way, put things in place to secure our regions. That is my question.
Thank you very much. Thank you. That's a fine place to leave it. Can I have Otumba, please, if you can unmute? Otumba HO. Quickly.
Thank you very much, Mazi.
Adekunle Alara, please. Okay, Otumba, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think Honorable Tony Ruand has already spoken my mind. The way things are, I think will be very foolish of anybody to think that the way to go about resolving the problem of Nigeria should be by war. That's going to be very, very disastrous. So the way forward is what Tony already narrated, and I hope next time when you're going to do one-on-one with some people, I should be able to be allowed to contribute. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Can I take Adekunle Alara, please?
Thank you for taking me. Thank you. My name is Adekunle Alara. I'm a spokesman for the Yoruba Unity Group in UK. And quickly, I just want to say, I want to thank everyone that has spoken on this forum today. They have spoken and they are quite explicit about where we are going and how to move forward. So I quickly want to raise issues concerning the background, which is 1952-53 census, which made the northern part of Nigeria more than twice the size of the population of the south of southern Nigeria. And also, I want us to go back to the 1963 Constitution, which gave all the powers needed to the regions then that allowed them to develop at their own pace, using their resources, both human and material resources. So if we are not going back there, ever since before 1999, I've canvassed for restructuring, including the Unity Forum, which are the Yoruba Unity Forum, which I represent.
Thank you very much.
And without restructuring, we should just go our way.
Okay, thank you very much. On that note, I would invite Mazi Chukuma Eze. Please, Chukuma Eze, unmute and quickly your contribution, not more than 1 minute or question. And afterwards, Mazi Obiokoli, please. Chukuma Eze, please unmute and ask your question. Mazi Obiokoli, if you're able to unmute, Mazi Obiokoli, if you're able to unmute, can you go ahead? Okay, if both of you are not there, Mr. Obonna, please go ahead. Mr. Obonna.
Yeah, Njenje, good evening, gentlemen.
Yeah,
am I clear?
Yes, you're clear. Make your point.
Okay.
1 minute.
Yeah, okay. 1 minute. Yeah, I want to say that what I see in every conference that we are doing as Southerners is this ego. Everybody wants to say, I did it. It's high time we put this ego behind, because this ego has been putting us down. Somebody from Southwest will begin to talk about our own region, which was then Biafra. That many people here acknowledge that in 1967 it was all Biafra under Ojukwu. Now we are split. People will come and be mentioning towns in inside. Nobody mentions about towns in Southwest or in North. We should put our hands together, gather ourselves together, and form under one umbrella with the people that have majority under the south or southeast. Be under them. Meet the mountain. Okay. If the mountain cannot come to you, go to the mountain.
Thank you very much for your contribution. Adeje Jemba, please go ahead.
Okay. Are you hearing me?
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay. Good morning from my side of the world. Thanks to everybody for all the discussions and the things that we've covered. I called in late, but the little I heard, I was quite impressed. But my question is this: we've been having these discussions from time to time under different auspices, and yet we've not really achieved anything. Nothing much has come out of it. When are we going to put action to our words? Instead of having forums, are we going to form something like one of the speakers said something about forming something from today's meeting? So are we going to do that? And if so, who is going to be in charge of that? Because we really need to put actions to all this stuff.
Okay, thank you very much. The question is well noted. Can we take Kevin, please?
Okay, how are you? My name is Shikeze Bochuku. I'm calling from South Africa. So my thing is kind of contribution or whatever. So what I want to say is, this thing of, like the last speaker said, this thing of foreign organized, or it's time for us to take action. This thing has been for many years. Fulani people don't even hear this thing of, having a forum or having this. Please let us just try and put action. If it's a revolution, let us do it. If it's for us, everybody to come out, like we saw from Edo mothers, the way they do last time, they come out on the road, they block the whole road. If it's that, let us do it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. UC Joseph, please. UC Joseph, please.
Hello?
Yes, go ahead.
Can you hear me, bro?
Yes.
All right. Maximum respect for everyone on this very platform. What I want to say is this. We have talked enough. I'm speaking from the city of Barcelona. We have talked enough, ladies and gentlemen. I think we should begin to make a move that we actualize all the talks we'll be having. We need legal and practical actions that we actualize all these talks we'll be having. Please, that is the point I want to make on this platform. Please,
thank you very much.
Before it is too late.
Thank you very much for that. Can I take Mazi Benezenta, please? Please make it very quick and snappy. Benezenta.
Okay, I thank every speaker who has spoken today. Thank you, Mazi Ezoke, for organizing this. I have a very quick contribution. In the first place, I want to ask all the speakers, are you willing to do all it takes for this struggle? Not lectures or talks. Are you willing to go the entire length, including armed struggle? Because that's the only language people like the Fulanis hear. And the other comment I have you, or how do you get this message to the grassroots? Because once you get the grassroots support, it is easier to build on top of that. So if you're not willing to go all the length, including armed struggle, then all this talk is for nothing.
Okay, thank you very much. I would take only two more people. Obviously, I've tried to rush it, so I'll take Obi. Obi, if you can unmute. Then after Obi, I will take Alabiosu.
Okay, thank you. Can I go ahead?
Go ahead, please.
Okay, thank you. Please, my question is specific to Ms. Akin Fapohunda. Obviously, the distinguished gentleman, is already a veteran and has given a lot of thoughts to the process of restructuring Nigeria within the regions. So my question is this, sir, can you be kind enough to let us see what does he perceive to be the prevailing challenges towards achieving this? And if you start through them, where should be the first step in redressing this? Where do we start to have that kind of mass movement that will bring this to reality? That's it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Obiosuji. Can we have Akin now, please? Okay, so Obiosuji, Mazo Biokoli, are you able now to ask your question? Are you?
Yes, Mazi is okay. Good evening, all.
Yeah, good evening.
My very pertinent question is this, and it will go to our brothers from the Southwest. Are they really serious about solving the problem of Nigeria? If they are, because I believe that we from the East and majority of the Middle Belt and Delta know where they stand. Are they really serious about solving Nigerian problem in terms of the 1979 Constitution and in terms of all sectors of Nigeria going their separate ways? That's my question.
Thank you very much. Okay, I think Dele Mahmoud is not longer here, but I believe I will have Akin and Yinka to do justice to that question. Please, gentlemen, take note that while you're doing your closing remark, you can take the questions as well. So the last person this evening, sadly, I wouldn't take everyone, is going to be Funso Lebiosu. Funso, can you please make your contribution?
Thank you, everybody. And I'm very grateful for all the work you people have been doing. But my question and my concern is your response. one of the first things is that at the moment with this force majeure, we have a problem. What's the problem? Before then, there are people being killed all the time. What are we going to do about it? We have to do something about it. So that one's important. Then what do we have to do? Because this is the right time. We are in majority. We have to give this time after the first majority, we have to give a response. It has to be determined where we're going. If we all are serious about it, and I think many are serious, but we have to carry all the people along. And that's where we need awareness in the grassroots. It's a very great work we have to do for the awareness of the people, because many people talk to them, they don't even know what's going on.
Okay, thank you very much. You know, to begin to answer these questions, I would once more now, in no particular order, bring back Dr. Akin. Dr. Akin, you know, you've seen the, you know, I think two questions are basically directly or indirectly points at you. So if you could basically do justice to these questions and at the same time put yours, you know, your closing remark and your summary, you know, do that 2 in 1. Thank you very much, Doctor.
Thank you very much. Two valid questions. The first one is, what are the challenges? In my talk, I talk about publicly actionable things and then covertly executed things. That's why I propose a strategic thinking group that can work off the public view. The measures that we need to adopt, somebody has to be standing almost twice a month, meeting and thinking of what to do. So that should answer that question. Whether Yorubas are ready. Look, the Yorubas have never willingly agreed with the North. That's the reason why we were persecuted. Yorubas don't believe in working with Northern Nigeria right from the independence period. It's only in 2014-15 that somehow we are not misled. The mainstream Yoruba has never been with the North. Get that right. Even Obasanjo did not win in Yoruba land. So Yorubas want to even be on their own. Then don't mistake some people who are money. Yorubas have, look, in Brexit, how many people approved Brexit in UK? How many people? We who are thoughtful, who are thinking, we know ourselves. And it's just for us now to open the flank, not to make it as if, oh, and I always said it to my friends who are from the East. If the Igbos waited 1 more year not to rush that time and they collaborated, it would have been a different thing entirely. So now, can we have a platform now that will take notable personalities? If I need to form 2 bodies, leadership council for the 4 zones, notable people who will endorse at the rear guard. And then we have the strategic thinking group. I tried doing this thing under the Office of Southern Middle Belt Leadership Forum last year, but people didn't really buy into it. They didn't see what I was saying, but we have to do it again to have 20 members from each of the 4 zones, having be a deliberative body, and then we have committees to think. We have to think. We have to think. We have to fashion our solutions to our problems. Enough of the talk in the public space. Can we work at the back end? People said, are we ready? Many of us are close to 70 now. Is it that we are so afraid of now? I mean, if you don't do anything, they will still kill you anyway. So any of us in this forum, look, we have enough in this forum. Can we volunteer to Mazi say, okay, let him put his email, volunteer that you want to be a member of a committee, and then you'll be contacted. Let's start from here. Let's start from here. There is nobody that more than what we have here. Nobody else. So please, Mazi, can you put your email address? People are interested in volunteer. Let's volunteer. Let's start hacking across the 4 zones. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much for that. I don't know if Yinka is still there. I will take Yinka once more before I move on to others to put their thoughts together. Yinka, are you still there? If you're there, you can unmute. I can see you're there, but obviously maybe you're on a different call. So let me know when you come back, Yinka. And I will check if Asake, okay, Jonathan is still here. Jonathan, if you're able to unmute, you've heard the questions from the floor, and you have heard every speaker and the thoughts that they shared. What's your thinking, and what's the way forward, and what's your concluding thoughts, Jonathan? Jonathan, are you still there? Go ahead, we can hear you, Jonathan. I can see you've unmuted yourself, Jonathan. Can you go ahead, please? It appears the network is still very unfavorable to you at your current location. Okay, so can we have Comrade? Can we have a Comrade Ajufo? Comrade, you've listened to the questions that's been asked on this platform, and you've listened to everybody's presentation. What's your takeaway? And at the end of the day,
before we start, let me thank Akin Fapohunda for his contributions. He's a very passionate man about the liberation of Southern and Middle Belt. In my private discussions with him, he's always been agitated about the fate that has befallen us. So I'm glad when he spoke to you, Mazi, you agreed to put this together. May God bless you both. Now, having said that, we've talked about liberation of Southern Nigeria. We've talked about issues bordering on force majeure, which I believe in. I spoke to Tony and Nadia about it. I'm totally in support. But there's a vacuum. Our forests have been ravaged. Yesterday, people couldn't go between Lagos and Benin. Our women can't go to the farm. So in the interim, what do? I'm suggesting social and civil unrest. If we cannot go to the forest, let us stroll our rogue political leaders and our governors. They have sworn allegiance to defend us and to protect us. If they fail to do that, then we have a duty to make them uncomfortable. We can't wait for all these things to materialize. Meanwhile, they are killing us. And like Colonel Nyiam said, they are moving fast. They have a strategic situation. We know their plans. We are meeting, but the problem is unity of purpose. I spoke to somebody recently. I said, until we begin to agree to the point of injury to one in the South is injury to all. The massacre in Oyibo received very little support from outside the Southeast. The insurrection in the carnage going on in Ondo and the soldiers flogging people received very little support from Southern and Middle Belt Forum. We must have this concept of injury to one, injury to all. It has to be a hyena approach. You attack one region, we all attack you. How many are Fulanis? I gave the instance during my preamble of Central African Republic, where 6% controlled the nation. But when the nation rose, they ran. They will run from Nigeria when we are ready. But the interim, they cannot open their flanks on different fronts. They can't come to Delta and attack me and attack people in Iberekodo in Abeokuta or Ankyo Briggs home. We must be ready to defend our territories against these marauders. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Comrade Ajufo there. And I think, obviously, the action plan is, at the end of the day, we would come up with, obviously, press statement that we hope to get published in the papers in the coming days. So I would, at the same time, want to get our next speaker to summarize. If we can have the Amazon of the Niger Delta, 2 minutes. Ankyo Briggs, if you're still here, can you quickly unmute and do justice to, summarize? And if there are the questions, obviously you've listened, and I believe you jotted some down. If you have any contribution to the questions, you can as well do that. Thank you very much.
Okay, good evening, everyone, again. First of all, let me pick up from where Ajufo stopped, which is, I totally agree with the synergy, and that is really what I am alluding to, or I alluded to in my first presentation. There is this urgent need for synergy. Synergy does not necessarily mean that we must agree that we are one people before we can work together. No, I totally agree that injury to Yoruba people is injury to, at this particular takeoff point, is injury to Ijaw people, to Igbo people, to Edo people, and so on and so forth. Yes, I totally and absolutely agree with that, because I also, in my first presentation, continue to stand firmly on the fact that the issue of identity is very critical here, because that is what it is all about. It is about identity. What the Fulani people are doing is creating, infusing, imposing their identity on people. History has taught us that is what they have done all along. They make a plan and they execute it, and they put their people all over the place. As I speak to you, in my community, I have strangers that I don't know where they came from. I don't know whom they are, but they are now firmly embedded in my community. And that is really all over the South. So that is one. Another thing I think that we should consider, and I've tried my best to push it, which is that our politicians must be held accountable in this situation we find ourselves in, because our politicians have completely forgotten that it is not about loyalty to political party. It is about loyalty to the people that you represent politically on whatever political party that you have chosen to represent them on which they have chosen to vote you in. So we must also hold our politicians responsible. Somebody said here that the National Assembly, the coming together of the National Assembly has to be actually illegal if we say that the Constitution is illegal. We have to begin to look at our representatives as not representing us, which they are not. At the national level, they are representing their political parties and the people that they need to become whatever they have become in our states, in our senatorial different districts. I maintain, as I round up, I believe, and I've been at this for like 22 years now, since 1998. I've been solidly fighting for equity and justice. I want to say that unless we agree and determine that it is about us as ethnic nationalities and not about Nigeria, it is about the ethnic nationalities that make up Nigeria. It is not about Nigeria. I think once we do that, we will get this synergy we're looking for. And once we get this synergy, like someone said, they will run. Because if I'm in my home and I can defend myself, you will not be able to break down my home and come in and harm me, and I will just fold my hand down. If I have a gun by my side, at least I will shoot it.
Thank you very much, sister. Thank you once more. I think you know, your closing remark there, or your submission, one critical thing you mentioned is holding our political leaders to account. And, you know, whatever, obviously there are party affiliations, you know, there are party differences, but the duty of care is to the people, the electorate. And who are the electorate? Those that ensured that you are in that political office today. Therefore, I totally agree. And that, you know, is one thing that must be done. I do not know if, you know, I think as Jonathan, it appears to be on the way. He came in briefly and he was noisy at the background, he dropped. So Jonathan, if you can hear me, can you quickly, just briefly, if you can, just make your closing remarks? I mean, let's have the opportunity to have you back. I know you are in Akwebong now, and it's getting late. If you can do that quickly, we will appreciate that. And in doing that, there was a question posed here that says, who are the Fulanis? So in, you know, putting your thoughts together, if you're able to take that question, we would appreciate that. Thank you very much. Okay, so obviously, I think the network is not playing along today. On that note, I will bring in Lieutenant Colonel Tony Nyiam. So, Lieutenant Colonel, can you kindly unmute yourself and speak? Okay, you've been unmuted now. You can make your conclude.
Let me begin with answering the question, who are the Fulanis? The Fulanis are the only non-indigenous ethnic nationality of Nigeria. Having answered the question, we need to think out of the box. After all, most of us here are, will I say, early thinkers, to say the least. The initial liberation struggle strategy types that I'm talking about does not have to be solely hard military power option. For example, we have competitive advantages. Take, for example, the Indigbos, who are a great majority in Texas, Houston, and all the places. And they have the money they send to Nigeria, money, the diaspora people, I'm not talking of the whole diaspora. The whole diaspora is actually made of the Middle Belt and Southern people. They send in so much money to Nigeria. Is there a way our financial groups can come up with methods by which when money is sent, it does not benefit the Central Bank of Nigeria, but rather it benefits the associations like what we have now. In other words, creating modes of sending money whereby the benefits of money sent, I mean the commissions or whatever, do not go to the Central Bank of Nigeria. That is a liberation struggle approach. The other approach is that we have, luckily for us, we have the seaports. Have we exercised our constitutional land rights with respect to the ports in our areas? These are just examples I'm saying that liberation struggle doesn't have to be bang, bang, bang. If you look at right now in India, there's an ongoing farmers' unending protests. That's a liberation struggle. So, and then on the issue of this, talking to our politicians, the structure of the political parties as they are does not allow for what we think politicians can do. If not, I'm sure my friend Asiwaju Tinubu would have overcome the challenges he's facing. Thank you.
Thank you very much. On that note, I think it will be a fine place to start wrapping up. I wanted to bring back Yinka, but I think it appears Yinka has been signed off. And for the benefit of doubt, I would want to give Jonathan Asake from the Middle Belt one more chance to make his final submission. If not, then we'll round up. Jonathan, are you able to do that now? If you've been, okay. If possible, Jonathan, you can turn off your video and just speak to us in audio. So that's going to help your, yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear. Jonathan, go ahead.
Hello?
Yes, if possible, if you can hear me, I said, if possible, turn off your video. We know it's you. You can speak only audio. Then that's going to help your network.
Okay. Yes. Yeah, I can hear you. Did you just ask a question?
No, I said, okay, if you can hear me now, I said, can you turn off your video? Then you speak only audio. Clear the audio.
Yeah, I can. Yes, I can speak right now.
Okay, go ahead then. Go ahead. Make your final submission.
Well, by
okay.
Final that I am tired of talking, seeing what is happening. That is few people who are not in. Sorry, can you hear me?
Yes, I think the bandwidth you're supposed to be using goes into the video. Are you able to turn off your video and speak without the video, please, so that we can hear you clearly? Yes.
Okay.
Now go ahead. I think it will be better.
Now, I said the Fulani that are not indigenous to Nigeria are holding everybody to ransom, killing in the Middle Belt, the South, in the Southeast, and the Southwest. So beyond the restructuring, beyond the constitutional issues we are raising, including bringing down the constitution, the challenge of these invasions in our communities must be faced head-on. And it must be a collaborative effort. Like somebody has said, I think it's Don Pedro Obaseki, that, you touch one, you have touched all. And that is what we must take if we must take back our country. This Fulani agenda will not stop, but it does not also mean that they are not aware of our strength if we bring our strength collectively. They are only capitalizing on the fact that we have been acting individually. We have never come together as a people and face this issue like it was faced in Central African Republic. And I think this is what we need to do. So whatever strategy we will develop to respond immediately to what is going on, to the invasions of our communities in all the zones, is what is necessary now.
Okay, thank you very much, Jonathan Asake, for that wonderful contribution. Now, in the last 2 hours plus, we have been hearing from a lot of us. We had from Dr. Akin Fapohunda, who is the Secretary Steering Committee, Eminent Elders Forum, who spoke passionately on his concept on how we can restructure the nation, and eventually gave us what he calls the 4 steps, which includes maybe starting up a campaign that will say that it's not going to be any election in the nation until certain conditions are met. He also went ahead to talk about the 1963 Constitution forming the baseline template. We have also the stats restructuring, however we want the restructured system to be, can the various regions start running it or test running it on their own? Obviously, conclusively, he said there ought to be a channel of negotiations. Okay, thank you very much, Akin. Then we had Jonathan Asake, who just spoke now, and who is also the president, Southern Kaduna People's Union, SOKAPU, who also is on transit somewhere in Akwa Ibom. And irrespective of that, he was able to join us, and he made valid and interesting points. One of the things Jonathan made us understand is that there is a plan to change the demographics of the nation, and that there is an agenda of replacing the indigenous people. His solution, basically, as he just rightly said now in his concluding statement, that there is need for us to forge ahead together, that an injustice to one should also and normally be an injustice to every one of that, or every one part of that union. We had a Comrade Dele Ajufo, coordinator, Anioma Redemption Group. Comrade obviously made some interesting, propositions, and also questioned if really we still, or do we really want to be one nation? If yes, the question rhetorically, however, is how? And that question this evening, I think, for many of us that are able to read in between the lines and synthesize what has been said, we can say that there are many propositions to that answer that he dropped. We had Dom Pedro Obaseki, who also has left. Dr. Dom Pedro Obaseki made a striking, remark when he said that the nation is not non-existing one, that dismantling the faulty foundation should be, or rather taking down the structure, which reaffirms to what some of the participants have said is the way to go. Yinka Odumakin, the spokesperson of Afenifere, socio-cultural organization of the Yoruba people of Nigeria, also made his own input, where Yinka questioned and said that restructuring is no longer enough. That, however, we must bring down this constitution, and in bringing it down, if a new constitution has to emerge, there must be an exit option or an exit clause, which will now allow people time, if certain conditions or if they feel that they've been treated wrong, they could exercise the right of referendum to decide to leave the union. I had my sister, the only woman in the house this night, that is Ankyo Briggs. Ankyo questions that Nigeria is a creation of Lord Lugard, that God did not create Nigeria. Also, went further to say there is an intention to enslave and occupy the rest of the nation. Agrees that independent, various independent nations should actually come together, or rather ethnic nationalities should all come together, and that is the barest minimum. It should be non-negotiable. Thank you very much, Antio there. I had also Colonel Tony Nyiam. Colonel Tony Nyiam, as many of you will know, obviously made some striking and also, some very fantastic presentations. It's not the first time. When the nation was, in a state of confusion, if many of you remember the Gideon Okaku, they, in their own wisdom at that time, thought we are drifting, and they did what was considered at that point necessary. And he also questioned and basically is suggesting that we should also look at how we can take control of diaspora remittances. I mean, these are, and furthermore conversations that could be taken offline. People, it has been an interesting evening where we also had our good friend Dele Mamudu, the publisher of Ovation International, who is a businessman and a motivational speaker as well. Dele, as we all have seen, many of you on WhatsApp, his video that has been going around in the last couple of days, where he questioned why some certain ethnic group will be lording it over others. Why have we replaced mediocrity with incompetence, where it appears nothing actually works? Dele, in his own argument this evening, says, and without mincing words, disagreeing with the statement of the governor of Benue State, who says that it might be making excuses. Dele said that Governor Otom is likely making excuses for the president, that the president reads newspapers, that the president is aware of what is happening. He concluded by saying that religion, that means that the Muslims within Nigeria are being over-pampered. Again, we all heard what everyone said this evening. There are about 2 participants who eventually didn't take part in this evening conversation. As it is now, people, we have had it. We have been here for the past 2 hours. What is now going to happen, people, is that we will be having a summary of all the discussions, points raised. This will be put together this evening, latest tomorrow, and hopefully many, I know that I've seen a couple of press people here. You've obviously by tomorrow, you people will be, we will be reading this in the papers, on the internet. The submissions here made today will be reproduced for onward consumption. As Dr. Akin said, that we would have some, kind of a group to push some of the conversations further. An email address has been shared on, for those of you watching in the Zoom or being part of us here, because obviously we are on various social media sites now as we speak. There is an email address there. That is Njenje Media at gmail.com. That could be used to drop your further questions. And I believe for those of you who wish to receive the presentation, sadly, which Dr. Akin couldn't show, you would also have, if the moment you request and you indicate interest, the back office would be able to send you that presentation by email. On that note, I would say it has been a fantastic 2 hours plus conversation discussing how, discussing the killer herdsmen. And there is a reason why, the decision to say these are killer herdsmen. That doesn't mean that all the herdsmen are evil, that all the herdsmen are killers. No. The challenge that we have seen here, and that is one of the things that came out from this conversation this evening, is there appears to be a set of these herdsmen who carry unlicensed gun. If we listen to when Colonel Nyiam was talking, he talked about how the military, maybe unknowingly or knowingly, got involved, that the military also owned cows. So, and these cows are not only owned by the northern, or by the northerners, so to say, that even within the south, that some of them, I mean, these were his words, that they own cows. And somehow, because they now have business interest, they appear to be protecting their business interest. Therefore, all we do now have is set of killer herdsmen ravaging farms, doing all manner of evil to the people. Hence why we are here to look for collective solution. This is no longer in the 60s. Now, there are some lifestyles that might be palatable in the 18th, 17th, 19th century, but for Christ's sake, this is 21st century. We should live like people within the 21st century. If there are people who think that it is a lifestyle to live in the bushes, Nigeria, the nation, the people, various ethnic nationalities are saying, come to the communities and stay with people, not in their farmlands where this evil takes place. On that note, I'll say thank you very much for joining us this evening. We will now allow and unmute everyone for, informal conversations. For those of you that might want to have that conversation, you can stay and, reading through the names, you might want to chat one or two people up. That is time to do that. Thank you. We will now be closing this evening conversation. Thank you for being part of this stream. Thank you very much and have a wonderful evening. I remain Mazi